Hey there, folks, and welcome back to the Icenia campaign. I'm on the region map mode here because I wanted to quickly talk about my thoughts on the region meta, which I will be discussing more as we get ready for our next War Council. But first, a quick mention: I did change my audio setup one more time. I have removed a previously forgotten 2.5 decibel reduction that I'd been applying to my voice. Hopefully my voice is a little easier to hear. I know I'm a little bit soft-spoken, so we'll see in editing if that has happened. Hopefully it has. And if it ends up being distracting or kind of difficult to listen to just because of the audio level, I will go back in future episodes and restore the change that I made. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, what I wanted to talk about is my thoughts on the sort of rest of the campaign, as we're now pretty firmly in the mid-game. We only have, I think, 200, less than 200 years remaining. We're already sort of approaching 50% through the timeline. I believe the end date is in the 700s in terms of the AUC dates that are what are displayed here. I don't recall for sure. Essentially, the ending of the timeline is when the Roman Empire was founded historically, in line with the CE dates, if that makes sense. Which I will comment is one of the more interesting design decisions in this game, in my opinion, is the way they decided to make it a game about Republican Rome and the Republican era specifically, which I think is quite an interesting way to approach it. Anyways, so with that in mind, I just popped off the region map mode. What I want to show here is what I'm thinking my long-term goals are, which I have talked about before, but just to really make it clear, I'm not sticking like firmly to only staying within the regions I want to have a presence in. So, for example, I've avoided conquering stuff in Celtica, even though I would have been allowed to in the past, because I wanted to fully solidify my presence in Armorica. Armorica is still, of course, not fully it's not fully kind of under control. We're still dealing, of course, with the actual province of Armorica still is disloyal, although it's almost there. And in general, this region is a very new part of our empire. But that being said, I did want to fully consolidate my presence in Armorica, and we've done that now. And so we also have, of course, a little section here in Aquitania, this part here, which I took just because it was available in a peace deal. I'm not going to press into Aquitania, which would basically just involve fighting Arwernia and its allies. So that's going to wait for the Arwernia War, which actually is coming sort of soon, I promise. I keep hyping it up, but it is on the radar. I just have a couple more small things to do first before we commit to it. Namely, I want to restore my alliance with Carthage first. Not because I need Carthage to help in the war, but because I want to be in a shared war with Carthage to shore up my relations with them. And the Arwernia War presents a really obvious chance because that's a war where I'd actually like to have a friend helping me out, since Arwernia and its two allies, Petrocoria and Nitobrogia, who occupy an area of Gaul, actually that's the same size as my area of Gaul. So this is not about the number of troops they'll be fighting. You know, they do have a couple hundred integrated pops between them to form levies and whatnot. And I believe these are all tribal as well. Yeah, these are federated tribe, settled tribe. So I'm going to be dealing with tribal levies, but all the same, we're also going to be dealing with all the mercenary forces that you can imagine. So we kind of want a friend to help us out. I don't want to splurge a ton of money on mercenaries myself to counter their mercenaries, and Carthage is the obvious friend to get. And so basically that's my thinking with that. What was I talking about? And so essentially the Aquitania sliver that we have, that's fine. Now, I also want to essentially, in the near future, before I turn to Arwernia, I want to consolidate my presence in Belgica. Now, I don't want to fully conquer all of Belgica, which is actually going to be a multi-decade process because Belgica is a pretty big province. We only control a small section of it. And that being said, there's only a couple nations in the remainder of Belgica that are fairly large. Namely, we've got Nuria and Marinia, who we'd fight together because they're allies. And then there's Beowakia, who's also allies with them. So let me switch to this. So Nuria, Marinia, and Beowakia, they're all part of the deal together. Beowakia is actually not in Belgica. They're actually in, technically, Celtica. And what I was going to say a moment ago is that I'm fine. I'm allowing myself now the prospect of conquering land in Celtica if it's incidental, and I'm not like I'm not obviously I can do whatever I want. I'm the one playing, but the way I'm approaching this is to say I'm not going out of my way to start a war for Celtican land. But if a Belgican land war happens to involve a Celtican based participant and I am able to take their land, I'm not going to stop myself if there's a reason for me to do so. And in this case, it would be to further connect the two sort of sections of my Gallic area. So essentially, I'm not going to decline to take Celtican land now that Armorica is fully under control. Belgica, of course, won't be fully under control for a very long time. Belgica is also a really natural sort of stopping point for my easterly expansion because of the river Rhenus. Although, of course, I do have this bit of Frisia, just because it's all part of one province, so I want to have the province be under my control. Once I have Frisia fully controlled, I will not proceed into Germania for a long time, not until Belgica is under control. Because once I commit to going as far east as Germania, that takes me really, really far. And like I've said before, I eventually want to fight the Germans and get all that amber that they have up here, because that stuff's really, really valuable. But by that point, I want to actually have Mediterranean trade inroads, because so far, as I've constantly noted, my main trade partners are actually the Germans. And so once I take out my main trade partners, I've got to have other trade partners ready to go to sell the German amber to. So all that being said, the essential plan with the War Council in later this year is to try and get a claim, I think, on Nuria, because Nuria has the most land that the claim reduces the cost of. Fight with Nuria brings in Marinia, and brings in Beowakia, and actually also brings in, for what it's worth, Suessonia, who's in a defensive league with Nuria and with Marinia. So this basically, all of these people are then at war with me. I can take all this land, I expand into Belgica a fair bit, and I also expand into Celtica a little bit. And this is going to be another chance to get a high martial character as a governor that I can use in my armies as a kind of general, as in the way that I've been doing. And then, after I do that, do I proceed into Belgica further? I think I might then take on Traweria, just because Traweria owns a huge amount of territory. I think I'm not going to focus on conquering into the Germanian part of Traweria. I think I'll just stop on the western shore of the Rhenus and just let Traweria keep whatever they have on the eastern side. But Traweria on their own, I might not even be able to take all this land in one war. They own a ton of settlements. This would be a very, very expensive peace deal. And Traweria has friends. They've got Mediomatrica, who are actually not even in Belgica. They're actually in Germania Superior, which we are definitely not going into yet. This is way too far inland. I mean, we're a naval power. We are not going this far inland. I guess it's technically we can build like a port on the river. That's our route in, but I'm not comfortable having a presence this far inland, which is also why I'm not focusing on conquering into Celtica on purpose. But while conquering this part of Celtica, like naturally, like it basically straightens our border between Armorica and Belgica. Conquering into southern Celtica or into Germania Superior is beyond our kind of scope right now. There's no need to overextend. In this game, if you just overextend and you paint the map, and then you have a ton of undeveloped, disloyal provinces, you then get paralyzed by that exact problem. You're overextended. And in this game, unlike in EU4, there's not an overextension mechanic in a gamified sense. It represents it, I think, a bit more realistically by having the actual problems of overextension just happen to you instead of it being a kind of gamified mechanic. Because in this game, as we've seen, I've spent the last 20 episodes, constantly struggling uphill to secure all of Armorica, right? All of my European conquests because of how angry they are at being conquered, which is, I'm sure, a pretty reasonable position, honestly. But anyways, let's get back to it. So I'm going to continue building my roads. We're going to have our Manawian Navy go pick up our road building squad over here in Salient. Again, I still did not get the chance to fix my computer. Sorry about that. It's too expensive right now. In the next couple of weeks, I'll get my next paycheck and I will go for it. So that's that. All right. So I'm just going to have to bear with the lag a little bit. So where am I going to build my roads next? Well, I could build roads in this area over here near where the front will be. But I think I'm going to hold off because I don't know yet what the arrangement of Belgica is going to end up being in the long term. Things like Cortoricum being a major city is not really in dispute, but how I will arrange the land I'll conquer, I'm not sure yet. So we're going to hold off on that. And also I can travel by boat between my coastal towns over here super easily, so no need to worry about that. I could build roads over in Armorica, which in theory shouldn't be on the front line for a little while, and that might be a good idea, because I think I've basically, with a couple of exceptions, built all the cities and whatnot I want to build. But I think instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to, let's see here, I'm just going to head actually to Canoium and drop them off. Then they'll take the road network. I'm gonna finish building the road into Caledonia, I think, because I'm a little bit nervous now. I haven't had a barbarian invasion from the Highlands in a little while, and I feel like one might be kind of scheduled to happen soon. I don't know how they spawn, if they're on a hidden timer or what, but I have a weird feeling I'm gonna get some Highlanders coming down sometime soon. I suppose we'll see. All right, get dropped off. Head on back to Manawia, and you. Let's see here. Just to zoom on over. So what we're going to do is we are going to build a road through the marshes, as I said before. We kind of have to. Even though this will be painful, I think the road has to go from Petuaria to Dictium. I think I'm also going to, as soon as I have the political influence, I'm going to build a city in Petuaria as well. Okay, one of our provinces is no longer. We had another province that was disloyal, I think. Let me check the. Let's go down like this. Where is the? Let's see. There's some menu somewhere. I'm trying to remember. Here it is. Provinces. Okay, so Celtica is disloyal. Oh, it's Wododinia that's no longer disloyal. Okay. Finally, holy moly! All right, so can I switch this now? Yes, I think. 22. Actually, hold on. So we're going to be at -7 without harsh treatment. What's this going to do for us? It's going to be some amount more than -7. So I think we're going to hold off for a moment and let it build up some space above harsh treatment. But while it is not currently... actually, hold on. We're not going to spend any money right now, so let me go back to that screen. That was a really useful screen. I wish I'd looked at this before. Let me make sure I'm not accidentally doing the whipping when I don't need to. So for example, Caledonia does not need to continue being treated harshly. Let's switch this over to local autonomy. Yep, that's fine. Now we'll wait on political influence. I had a lot of stuff on harsh treatment, and it's a very, very costly policy to maintain when you don't need to, so I'm gonna check on that whenever I get some more political influence. And that is costing tyranny to do. I know that. I am trying to reduce tyranny, but if I can safely switch off harsh treatment, I think harsh treatment might even have a tyranny cost as well. Let me double check this. It doesn't, but the migration attraction is something I really dislike, so we don't want to be on harsh treatment unnecessarily. Okay, so this is the fastest route here. I think I do it. I want to do it from Petuaria. I guess alternatively I do it from Mamukium, because this is mountains, so actually that doesn't really make sense, because mountains is really, really big movement cost. But something I didn't realize, this is actually hills in Werbea. This is not a mountain pass, this is hills. So we could go to, actually no, hold on. This doesn't connect with Werbea, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as opposed to just 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the most direct route. And there's no need to have a road over here at the moment. Eventually it might be good to have one, but I only need one road north and south to travel around. And honestly, even then, I can still travel around by boat pretty easily. All the same, I should build a road to Dictium, so I have some kind of road connection up here. We'll just build it through the marsh. Let's pinch our noses and start building our road through the marshes. It's fine. Also, something I noticed between episodes is I now have probably the world's biggest navy, 180. The Romans are at 174, and I think no one else has a navy as large as the Romans. Like the Marians only 108, Seleucids are about 100, Ticanids are not a naval power, Egyptians, who are historically one of the main naval powers, are only at 133. Carthaginians, again, historically naval power. This game, we've seen sort of navy de-emphasized Carthage and navy emphasized Rome in a very weird, cursed way. Yeah, I think we probably have the biggest navy in the world. Speaking of Antigonids, the Civil War ends. Okay. Seen that one before. Manpower is building up nice and steadily. I don't want to hit my maximum without being at war, because manpower at its max is being wasted. Same with aggressive expansion. But I'm not going to generate aggressive expansion just for the sake of it. I want to do it for, a tactical, sort of strategically sound purpose. War exhaustion is almost at 0 as well. All that is to say, I want to spend my manpower on a war, but I do still have another 7,000 manpower kind of room in my coffers of manpower. So not in a huge rush, but we will get a claim in 2 months, so that will be good. Making sure I'm recording. I'm always concerned about that, but have never made that mistake yet. Score-wise, we are number 1. We now have a pretty comfortable lead above Rome. We have a 900-point lead. That's pretty good. Yeah, our total scoring pop happiness is way lower than Rome. But this is mostly, to be fair, because of the starting situation divider. That's really big. That's because the game knows we've started from a very, very small position, and now we are in the position that we're in. So I'd basically argue, like, looking at the numbers, like putting aside the starting position, like, let's just look at how we are now. Acknowledging that Rome has this gigantic undeveloped kind of eastern section, Don't even think about the total number of pops. Like, the Romans have about, assuming they haven't integrated, like, have they integrated the Etruscans or the Sabellians? Probably not. But the Romans are integrated to the Romans. That's how that works. They're the primary culture. They've got 1,300 integrated cultures. That's where their levy strength and whatnot comes from. Now that they are going to use levies, they have legions. And we've got about 1,100 Druidic Iceni. So keeping in mind how many Roman pops are in the game at the start, we've actually really successfully plowed. That's a weird way of phrasing it. We've really successfully pumped up the number of Iceni through assimilation quite a bit, because we haven't grown all those Iceni pops. We've turned people into Iceni. By the way, between episodes, something I forgot to mention is I actually switched this to cultural assimilation. It was previously on cornucopia, or what's it called? Encourage trade, which I think I'm going to switch this one actually to assimilation as well, because I realized that I actually have a number of slaves now who aren't Iceni. I want to convert them, so we'll do that. Right, roads being constructed, good stuff. So if you're curious why my political influence was lower than at the end of the last episode, that's why I did that off camera during one of my attempted sort of episode starts where I faltered because I kind of got lost in the sauce, as it were. Is that a phrase? I think it's a phrase. I think I've heard that phrase before. Leave a comment if that's a phrase that you've heard before and reaffirm that for me. All right, almost on October 1st. Let's see if we pause correctly. Whew, there it is. Always nervous about that. Okay, so we're going to call ourselves an omen. Do we continue the manpower recovery speed? I think we do. Unless there's some reason we want popularity for Wisenius. Is probably fine. It is trending positively, and once we're in a war again, it's going to boost right up, because every victory he wins as the general of any of the number of different sections of our Britannic levy will contribute popularity. Fort defense, probably uncalled for. This is honestly just for the discipline thing. Oh, actually, we can... We actually have room for a relic here. Let's actually get the whale fat candles into the shrine at Coriandia, which is in Hibernia. Local unrest -1. I think that's just in Coriandia. I mean, may as well, I suppose. Actually, let's hold off, because I think there may be some sort of penalty for removing a item from where it's located, so I'm going to hold off on that. Anyways, let's go ahead and grab Rosmerta. No need to get too creative here. We want more manpower. That's the name of the game here. And before we unpause, let's now do our War Council. Here we go. The War Council assembles. So I'm not going to reread the entire thing. The main thing being that we can pick between Biturigia, which is... Where is Biturigia? It's in Celtica. Okay, let's go find all these places. That's not what I wanted to do. Biturigia. Here's Biturigia down here. Biturigia is friends with... Oh, Biturigia is in a monstrous defensive league. Holy moly, look at this. Got no allies, but they're in a defensive league with basically all of the tribes that are in the kind of Celtica, Transalpine Gaul, Raetia areas. We're not looking to expand into this part of Gaul right now, so definitely not Biturigia, which is what Singatessa suggested, so we're going to ignore my sister here. We could go for Beowakia, which is one of our preferred targets. Beowakia is, of course, over here in Celtica. They're in the northernmost tip of Celtica, if you're curious how that is. This is part of Celtica here. Critically, though, Beowakia is allied with Nervia, and they're in a defensive league with Persia. Although, actually, hold on. They're not allied with Marinia. That's a shame. They were before. Between episodes, they were allied with them, so that's unfortunate. I went to fight Marinia, and for that, I basically need to fight Nervia, or Marinia. The last option is Persia. Now, Persia, they are in a defensive league with Beowakia, and they have no other friends. So, of these, this is actually not the best set of options I've ever seen. I think Beowakia is the most promising option because this lets us fight Persia. So we basically just get... I mean, this is such a small area of land, but this is actually a very compact group of 7 settlements right here in the tip of Celtica, so nothing to sneeze at there. This will help straighten out our border here. And like I said, I don't know if I said it earlier in this episode or if I said it in between episodes when I didn't end up continuing to record and you can't hear it. I don't know if I said it then, but I want to actually... I don't mind having a presence in a little small ways, like I do with Aquitania, in another region that I'm not going to expand into right now, because straightening out our sort of front line here would be good to do. The issue is I want to fight Marinia, and Marinia is allied with Nervia, and if I'm fighting... if Nervia is called in, that's not the same as me declaring on Nervia, so Nervia being in a defensive league... Actually, hold on. Yeah, because Nervia... I guess they could call to arms Marinia, I think. I'm trying to remember how this works. So if I attack Beowakia, they'd call in Nervia as an ally, and they'd call in Persia in the defensive league. And I think calling in Nervia as an ally... I think Nervia is allowed to call in their allies? Possibly. They may not be able to. I can't remember. Alternative... And then we get Persia as part of the defensive call-in, so they would have to be called in. Or, if we attack Persia... we just get Beowakia. So one thing we could do is just have this be a claim on Persia, and then do this much smaller war against Persia and Beowakia. Or we don't need to do the war right now, we just get the claims, straighten out our borders eventually, and then create a claim on Marinia. Because now we can't rely on Marinia being called in by Beowakia, which they would have been earlier, I think even in this episode. Something between Beowakia and Marinia changed diplomatically, and they've had some sort of falling out, which is unfortunate timing. I think all this being considered, it makes the most sense to get the claim on Persia and have a essentially Parisian Beowakian defensive league war, and then separately fight Marinia and Nervia. So I think that's probably the right approach here. We'll go for this. The loyalty effects here are not going to matter. There we go, we got our claim. Now, do we prepare for this war right now? I suppose we could. We need to get some aggressive expansion. I think we prepare for the war, and then once we're able to, we fabricate a claim on Marinia while we're doing the war. And then we do the Marinian War afterwards. Marinia calls in Nervia. I guess we'd actually fabricate on Nervia, because I'd rather have claimed... It doesn't matter who actually, it may matter. Because they bring in Nervia, and they also bring in Suessonia, which is fine. If I attack Nervia, they bring in... Well, Beowakia wouldn't exist anymore. So it actually doesn't matter at all which one I'll decide later when I fabricate. But anyways, we've now got a claim. So If I really wanted to, I could just declare war immediately, but of course I have no troops up. Or I technically have troops up. Either way, let's get going. So time to go to war. Yeah, because we need to. We're at 0 war exhaustion now as well. So now is a perfect time, and we got enough manpower. We're gonna go for this time for real, an actual quick, uncomplicated war. Because look at this, Beowakia. They've not even heard about forts. No forts at all in Beowakia. This is a startling AI mistake. I've never seen the AI not fortify their capital, unless they were. Did I conquer them before and they lost their fort? That might have happened. But they should have built a fort here. This is their whole nation capital. So that's a 0 IQ moment right there for Beowakia. Parissia, who previously hadn't fortified this town here, Lutetia, who I think is this the town? Maybe I didn't. Maybe it was a different town. Actually, I think it was Cenabum that was a town that was unfortified, and then I sacked it, and then I later destroyed the city. Either way, they do have a level 2 fort here, so Beowakia is going to be an absolute piece of cake to just absolutely plow through. And then we're going to have to siege down Parissia, but the key thing is if we declare war kind of soon, they're not going to have time. Oh, hold on. Beowakia is allied with Neria. Okay, so if it's a defensive league war, I don't know if Beowakia is allowed to bring in their ally. Possibly. So this complicates things a little bit because I didn't notice this earlier. If they brought in Neria could maybe call in Meridia. I don't know how this works in terms of how far down the line the AI can call each other. I think what I should do is pay my forts. Yeah, this is totally fine. I'm going to pay my forts, or pay the men. I'm not going to pay the forts. I'm going to pay the men at the forts. And basically get ready to fight Parissia and Meridia. And then maybe have some forces. Actually, no, it's fine, because I have forts here, so it should be fine. If Neria joins the war unexpectedly, I can just move forces over there pretty quickly, and the forts I have effectively block Neria anyways. Let's go ahead and get ready. Let's raise. I think I'll just use the Britannic levy here, and I'll just have the Caledonian levy continue its road building operations. So let's go ahead and raise the levy. I guess we can just raise them in Londinium. All right. Now let's go ahead and tell you about envelopment stance, and then split you. Are you small enough to get on the boats? No. All right, we're gonna split you again. And then, where's my... Split you again. First levy on the boats, there we go. We'll just transport over. Let's see here. We'll just come on down to the River Sequania. You actually come on up here. And you as well come over to help transport troops. Also you as well. Okay. While that's going on, you continue going like that. All right, good stuff. Marian Civil War ends. Oh my god, Maria. Get it together. It's constant. I will say, by the way, for all of my problems with tyranny, I have not had a single civil war, and I think the amount of time I spend and force you to watch through of me just doing like national infrastructure micro is what's kept me from having civil war problems, despite having a very high tyranny amount and conquering land pretty regularly. All right, Brocata Welba died of stress. She was the researcher. We need a new Welbi in the research position, or in a position anywhere. May as well do it in the research position. You are 7 charisma. That's fine. I could get this person and get the research bonus, but may as well just grab a Welbi. That's fine. No big deal. Okay. Let's resume. Keep an eye on this guy to make sure he's not sitting around on build road stance. All right, come on. I like how the background changes. Okay, let's grab the second levy. We're just gonna have our levies come down to the river and then disembark and then take positions on the border of these two little guys. I'm trying to do this quickly. Like, the reason I'm going to war right now, or I'm preparing to go to war right now immediately, is because I don't want to give these little nations time to get new friends, just for simplicity's sake, because then I have to redeploy everyone into the right positions. December. All right. On the boats. Down you go. Okay, so the first levy is going to get off probably in the north, I suppose. I guess it doesn't matter where I put them because I'm only attacking two little guys. Yeah, and then we'll have our forts block Nerbia if they are joined via Belovacia. I mean, I'm gonna essentially. I mean, this isn't. I almost said capitulate. This isn't Hearts of Iron 4. I'm effectively going to capitulate Belovacia very quickly because they're not fortified. Again, bizarrely, I guess they just didn't want to destroy their farming settlement. Which, fair enough. Farms are cool. Agriculture is based. That's a true fact from me to you. But they probably should have been like, fortifying our capital. Probably should have done that. Anyways, I've almost made it. Yeah, this swamp road is just kind of gross to look at, but this will help travel up to Dictium, and then from Dictium the swamps are done, and you can then walk up through here. I think what I'll do is, let's see, I'll look at this actually once this guy's done on the 18th of December, so I'll check back over. Stars of War. The signs of the stars have been clear according to our druids, and proclaim our many victories to come. No matter who our enemies might be, our triumph will be certain as we move to take our rightful place as the rulers of Britannia. Now to find somewhere to lead our troops and fulfill our destiny. Find a nation to conquer. Well, I've got news for you. I'm on it. You'll be pleased to hear. All right, well, that's good. The stars are on our side. That's a good sign. Gotta love that. All right, so we're going to just have you... I'm actually going to have you come over here to Augustomegas, because I'm going to have you zoom straight down to Lutetia from the north. We'll have the second levy attack Avalocum. And again, I can't disband sections of a raised levy, otherwise I would just use like just this force here to do everything. But because I have to use the entire Britannic levy, I may as well use all of it just because I want to blitzkrieg through this war before they hire tons of mercenaries, which is what I'm really concerned about. Anyways, continuing along. Okay, we have enough political influence for one more, what's it called? Yeah, so let's go through here. This is wrong. This is all wrong. Why is it like this? Who? Okay, we'll come back to that. Yeah, these religious conversion ones are not the way to do it. Incorrect. Let's see here. 21, harsh treatment is 24. Ossosymia is probably okay to switch to local autonomy. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Alright, lads. Alright, second levy is going to take position just in Rhodomagus, and then they'll go south to Avalocum. Alright, and then the Lugudurum Navy is going to return to Lugudurum. You are done. Good stuff. So now, yeah, this should be pretty fast. Sweet. Okay, so now from Dictium, if I wanted to get to Wellignate, I'd go along the coast. So I'm going to build a coastal road here. I could build the road connecting to my forts in the middle, but I'm not going to worry about having these forts be connected to the road network. I just want the fastest road possible up to Wellignate, because Wellignate is actually a much more natural kind of, more than a province even, it's a much more natural kind of area capital and hub, central hub I should really say, for the north, because it's a port, it's kind of in this middle area, and it can have roads that connect. So, well, oh, hold on. Let me actually have you build roads while I'm trying to build roads. Build roads up to Wellignate on the fastest route, and then that makes sense for where the road would be. Alright. We're almost in position, only probably in the spring of 50s, of 60, what am I trying to say? The spring of 67. Hop on down a little bit further. 567 is what I was trying to say there. Got a little tongue-tied. It's known to happen. Alright, we're already almost near our manpower cap with our raised levies. That's fine. Alright, the third levy, you're going to come to Aller Corum. And the fourth levy is going to come to Otricum. We're just going to run in real quick. No messing about. Right, the Oconum levy can return. And the Esta levy. I'm trying to find Esta. Here it is. Esta is right here. Okay. We don't need our levies to be... we would need our navies to be on standby. This shouldn't require the navies at all. Almost for sure. We'll just get into position. And we'll declare the war. Hopefully they haven't picked up any allies in the meantime. I suppose we'll see in a moment if they have. All that matters, I guess, is if Parisia has, and they have not, so we're fine. Alright, almost there. There we go. Make sure everything else is looking fine. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's declare war on Parisia. So we're going to take Parisia from Parisia, and they're going to bring in just Beowakia. And Beowakia may or may not be allowed to call in their big friend Nervia. If they do, we have our forts to slow them down, and we will just have one or two, probably actually two of our levies take one. Probably the 5th Navy will transport them up into the area, and we should be fine. So let's go ahead and get started. We may get some kind of good event as well from following what the stars said, so we'll see after the game lags what happens. Come on, game. I know this is a big thing to process. The biggest war it's ever seen in the game, me fighting Parisia. Come on. This is some pretty serious lag. I hope that my audio recording has not been messed up by whatever's going on here. Guess we'll find out in post. Wow, this is really quite something. What do we talk about during this this downtime while the game is loading? How's your day going? My day is going pretty good. Just enjoying the weather. Nice January weather. There we go. Okay, holy moly. That was quite the load. And this is not for big war. That would have been like an Arvernia war load, you'd think. But no, this is just Parisia and Beowakia. So, just let a day go by accident. Whoops. Alright. So no messing about. In we go. Yeah. Should be fine. Ooh. Let's actually... Ooh, yikes. Whoops. That was a small mistake. It's probably fine. We may take a couple thousand casualties if we run into any armies right now, but yeah, that was a small mistake there. Okay, well, hopefully that doesn't amount to anything. We'll just pay them really, really quickly, and hopefully they'll not be too bothered by that. We're going to really quickly take this capital and knock out, effectively knock out Beowakia immediately. We'll keep an eye on if any participants join. The game doesn't always notify you when someone joins a war, so we have to kind of be aware of what Nervia is up to, if they are up to anything. Okay, so this looks fine. We don't need everyone to be on Percy at the same time, so we're actually going to have you stand there and just capture this so they can't raise their levy here. There we go. Things are looking fine so far. So hold on. You stand there, because again, we don't need everyone to come to Persia simultaneously. Okay, so we will fight them in there. Should be fine. Take a couple hundred casualties. We stack wipe them too. 300 casualties for 2,000. That's a pretty good ratio. Happy with that. Now we'll attack them in the plains. Should be fine. Alright, stack wipe. We also occupied here, so you head here. Oh, we sacked the capital, that's right. How many people live here? 8 people. The lives of let's see here. The lives of 4 people worth 80% of one road. I think so. I guess we'll sack it. There we go. And I guess this was going to control change anyway. So now I'm just going to have you come up here to just protect this, because I don't need all my armies here at the same time. Okay. And that. You, I'm going to have head over to... let's come back to my territory somewhere. I guess here is fine. Yeah, I'll just head there. Yeah, this is going to be a bit more of a costly fight. Okay, that's not so bad. I was expecting a more serious outcome from that, but... Actually, hold on. You just head there and then try and catch these guys lacking, if possible. Coming of the city of Petuaria. Look at that. I was just talking about making Petuaria a city, but I'd actually done it already. What a goofy thing to say. Okay, so Petuaria is done. I'm not going to spend the money on improving it right this second, because I am in a war, so I want to not spend money if I don't super need to, but we'll get back to Petuaria later. This is a colony as well, so we do have a lot of Iceni who live here. And it's been a colony for a long time, too, so that's fine. Go catch these guys. Sue for peace from Parisia. I don't think I've seen the AI do this that often. This is the rare moment where the AI is so thoroughly outmatched in every regard, they're actually asking for peace. No, I'm not going to do that. Parisia. Alright. Good stuff. You head on down to Cenabum. Actually, no, head to Condate. Just kind of remain in the area, just in case mercenaries come running. But essentially, there's the stack wipe. And with that stack wipe, we've won the war. Now, the issue is I need to keep this levy here doing the siege, but I can't speed the siege up with more troops or anything, so I'm just going to kind of have my troops remain in the area and just be ready to respond to mercs. But I've essentially won the war. This is the rare one-episode war. In fact, it's within the latter half of one episode, which is especially rare. I could get loyalty with Singatessa. She's pretty loyal, honestly, so let's just go for 10% national tax. Let's see how this affects our economy. 34, 37. Excellent, as it said. All right, good stuff. Okay, actually, I think I probably can build in Petuaria. So what do I want to build here? Let's see here. Training camp doesn't do that much, honestly, because I only have a few citizens and freemen. I think I'll build a academy. No, I don't have any nobles who live here. I have a lot of slaves who live. Why do I have so many slaves in Petuaria? I'm going to come back to this next episode and redistribute these slaves, because I don't need this many slaves here. I think I will build a training academy, actually, planning for future manpower bonuses. Then I'll also build a... No, actually, hold on. I'm going to hold off. Petuaria is not a super developed city right now. I'll come back to it later when I'm moving the slaves around, maybe in the next episode. I want to finish this war, this episode, if I can. Okay, so now I just got to wait. Oops, what did I drop? Oh, I was dropping stuff. So, Nerwia is not in the war. That's good to see. They've actually now... Yeah, they were allied with Belyawakia before. That's fine. I have enough to do another change. Askia wants to trade for horses. I think that's actually from Petuaria. Yeah. That's fine. Well, let me make sure I'm looking over here at the siege, so I'm not turned away. Any of these I need to change. This one might be fine. Turonia. Let's see. 24, so it'd be at a -4, but then we'd also... So it's something more than -4, because -4 is if there were no policy. I don't know if you're following what I'm thinking in my head, but basically I'm doing quick math and saying, okay, this is 0.24 plus from harsh treatment. We're at +20 with harsh treatment. So without harsh treatment, we'd be at -4, but that's with no policy, and local autonomy grants some advantages. It indirectly increases loyalty. So I think no autonomy should be fine here. Okay, yeah, it's totally fine. Good stuff. All right, eyes peeled for mercenaries. Don't see any. If only you could peace out a nation while you're sieging them. But the issue is, even though that'd be more realistic to the way people are in real life, people don't need to have their siege, conclude against them for them to surrender. But the issue is, it would be too easy to exploit for the player to basically punch around nations with like a high siege timer on them. Ooh, hello. Military traditions. What am I trying to do here? Did I want to get word of mouth? Exceptionally high marshals promoted. I want to get this at some point, but I don't think I need this character right now. Maybe ahead of the Arvernia or Roman Wars. I could get a bunch of freemen in... Actually, this is good, though, because these are Iceni freemen spawning in, let's see, Monopia and Ablania. These are both Hibernian locations, and I think Wellaboria might be as well. Let me actually go look really quick. Ablania Occidentalis. Out of the way. Ablania Occidentalis is here. Yeah, Wellaboria. I get a bunch of Iceni over here, which might help with colonization. So let's go for it. Natural resources. All right. An abundance of arable land and vast tracts of land sporting workable wood gives us unparalleled access to the resources we need to create weapons of war. Good stuff. Then we'll be able to get some of this really good stuff down here as well. Unintegrated culture happiness +6. Is that what that said? Holy moly, that's really good. Okay. Yeah, those military traditions, they're not always just about military. There's a lot of cultural stuff there, too, especially for the non-Romans. So, good stuff there. I need to stop spending political influence so flippantly because I need to actually get that claim against Bermuda at some point. But I think I want to... Ooh, hello. Okay, this is exactly what I was anticipating. We have mercenaries coming in. Fortunately, we have the first levy ready to intercept. We're just going to run in. They may go straight for the siege, which would be pretty funny because they'd probably get stack wiped. But let's try and make sure they can't do any mischief. Let's see where they're going to go. We'll just catch them here. That's fine. This should be a very, very easy fight. No trouble at all. In we go. All right. Yeah, they had the wrong tactic as well. Okay, not a stack wipe, but we traded basically evenly, and now we're going to chase them down and hope that we... we'll just catch them immediately. Okay, if we stack wipe them, that's ideal. Holy moly. Cantasena Welba, who is the current head of the Welba family, was murdered. Who murdered you? Do we know? It was a secret murder. Okay, that's unfortunate. That wasn't me, I swear. Even though Wasenius is kind of a mean guy. There's that stack wipe. Yeah, and of course stack wiping mercs doesn't actually kill them. It just sort of ends their contract, which is fine for us. Alright, head on back up to Kaiser Omegas and just chill up there. Norway is still not in the fight, which is good to see. How's my road building going? Oh, it's almost done. Okay. Should be getting there 10th of November. Let's check back up there when we get to that date. Actually, hold on. So, ooh, hello. I was just saying I was expecting barbarians to spawn. And, where are they? Here they are. Okay. We can actually have our road builders go deal with them, which we will once they finish building the road. And to prep for that, let's actually have the first Navy come pick them up and ferry them up further north, because they're not going to be able to get there by foot very quickly. So we'll finish the road, and then we'll finish the road that they're building right this second, and then we'll have them go by boat. So that's kind of handy. We may lose a bit of civilization level from those barbs, but we have someone on the way. Unfortunately, our road building levy is large enough to go deal with them. All right, 7%. That's fine. This is a very okay siege timer to be slow on. Okay, yeah, so that's what I expected. Barbs are pillaging. Let's also actually cut down our fort maintenance again, unless the barbs are going to matter for that. No, should be fine. Cut down fort maintenance. Save some money, because we're not really in danger being invaded by anyone at this point. Okay. Just waiting for this to get lucky. Again, if we're going to use up our bad luck on the siege timers right now, that's okay. Okay, stop doing the road build stance. Because they're down to 3,000. That's pretty quick. Once we have, ironically, we could have used the road right when we don't have the road finished. Although, actually, we can now probably just walk into them ourselves. So we'll just do that. So, sorry, Classes 1. I kind of made use of you a little preemptively. We'll send you back. Okay. Hold on. 84% is probably fine to go attack them. should be fine. We're attacking into the forest. I think it's probably fine. If this forest gets kind of beat up, it's really not a big deal. They're just my road builders. Also, we can do an invention. That's right. What was I going towards? There's something I was going towards. I talked about this a whole bunch last episode, I think, but I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, right. We want to do this, but when we have a new person as our high priest. I think let's grab the Omen Power one. Actually, hold on. Let's not do that quite yet. Let's grab Integrated Culture Happiness. That's because there's a lot of culture happiness stuff and like loyalty. Yeah, this is a good tree for us to go through. Yeah, this stuff's all really good. Let's go ahead and grab FUG. In Rome, slaves which had escaped and been caught were brandished with the letters FUG for fugitive, leaving a lasting impression on themselves and all who viewed them as to the dangers of rebellion. So that's 2% at Kenny happiness nationwide. That's really strong. Certified strong thing. Okay. It's a very, very far away to travel. Ironically, we're going to then build a road probably through here to road up to Karnanake, but we'll get to that later. Anyways, there we go. Sacking of Lutetia, which we will probably... Ooh, look at this. We killed 4 pops and captured 3. That's pretty impressive. Did we depopulate? No, this is just a really, really big city. Wow. Okay, yeah, I think I commented how big the city was, but I was underselling it almost. This is 130 gold, which I will take. That's also 10 prestige for the Diwikai, although that happens either way. Yeah, none shall hide, because this probably won't be a city that I keep for myself, although actually it might be. Either way, it's fine, because it's not filled with people that are a Kenny. It's filled with people who aren't a Kenny, and you know how I feel about that. Anyways, let's go ahead and sue for peace. Alright, so it's as simple as that. So with that, we've got 7 more settlements to our name. We now have a pretty firm inroad into Celtica, and critically, for just border gore purposes, we've now straightened our border with Celtica by adding this bit that really arguably shouldn't be part of Celtica. It should be part of the other provinces next to it. So anyways, 6th aggressive expansion, we'll lose that really quickly. And yeah, look at that, a 1 episode war, a 1/2 of 1 episode war, super, super quick, and we're already almost at enough influence to start justifying on Marinia too. Let's go for it. Alright, so you know what we're not going to do. We're not going to imprison anybody. Let's lose the aggressive expansion, I suppose. Yeah, because I don't want to get more tyranny. Okay. So my king, the Gallic local power of Parissia, accepted our terms. Parisian Parissia to Britannia, and Beowakian Parissia to Britannia. Good stuff. Now I need to get a governor for the new province of Parissia, of which this is now all part of my thing. Do I keep this as my provincial capital? I would, except for Cala is here, and Cala is a better capital location. It's a farmland. It's also in the river, but it is a farmland. They're both pretty central. I guess, let me see here. Let me actually go ahead and disband my Britannic levy. There they go. Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Lutetia is a bit more central, and it is already built up as a city, but I could make a ton of money dismantling it. And it's got like libraries and mills, which are not bad buildings, but not something I want to prioritize. And it's filled again with non-Akeni. It's got a ton of non-Akeni nobles, this is just going to be annoying. I'd rather just depopulate Lutetia. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll revoke its city status. That will cost some tyranny, unfortunately, but I'd rather just depopulate it now. Alright, there it is. Okay, so, I think, let's see. I guess I should have thought about if I was going to destroy the fort or not, because I may rebuild the fort if this is the right fort location. It does line up with Kennebum, and it does actually line up with Caesar Omegas, so I actually think I will rebuild the fort. That was a small mistake there. But it's fine. Destroying those buildings gave me enough money to rebuild the fort with no big issue. I'll keep it as the provincial capital for now, but it probably won't be the long-term location. It may be fortified long-term because it lines up with my fort network really cleanly. Maybe it will be the provincial capital long-term. Either way, I made the right call destroying those buildings and revoking the city because this, I'd rather recolonize it with Icenia than try to work with a big city of non-Icenia because they're just going to be really unhappy for ages, so... It is what it is. I've made choices, let's just say. I've made choices, and they've been made. So I do like Kala as a city location more, to be fair. And actually, now that I think about it, Kala also lines up... Actually, it almost lines up with Caesar Omegas. I think I'll fortify this for now, because this is the provincial capital all the same. But I think I may long-term switch to Kala. It has got less coverage, but it does line up with Cenabum. I'll decide about that later. Either way, let's go ahead and assign a governor. Who do I want? I don't really need a super high finesse. Let's get a really high martial character because this is, again, we're not going to own a lot of what's it called, Celtica for a long time. Let's see. Wellariga Galba looks kind of promising. No bad loyalty traits, no corruption traits, young lady, super good martial. Finesse is actually pretty good too. All right, I've been convinced. We're gonna make it. And she's also, look at this, my queen. She's already picked the right policy. I guess she could have picked harsh treatment, but this is almost the right policy. Absolute legend. Glad to see that. And with that, and our slightly cleaner borders, we know what's coming next to further clean up the borders. We're going to end this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. And next time, we will begin to prepare for the war against Meridia and Nerwia. Yeah. And I guess also Swissonia as well, which means we will be... Anyways, yeah, okay. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next time.